everyone. Mike here. Just want to address my opinions on this whole controversy and drama about the podcast awards. I think it's pretty silly to be honest, but the entire thing, from at least from the podcast award side of it, just seemed to be very unprofessional. On the website, they said something to the effect of the winners are on hold while we investigate some people that were cheating or whatever, however it was phrased. They didn't have to do that. They could have just said the winners are on hold while we conduct an investigation about an issue that was brought to our attention. That's all they really had to say. And then I think they would have saved themselves a lot of angry emails, angry tweets, um, things like that by just being a little more professional with that aspect of it. And then it just became really, really silly after that, where the podcast awards tweeted out that the Diamond Group, even though it's called Diamond Club, if they like the podcast awards so much, they should have funded the site rebuild, which is just silly. Why do they think it should be on the podcasters to pay for the entire rebuild of their site is beyond me. And just the fact that they also claim they had no knowledge of any of this, even though apparently the person that mentioned the bookmarklet site had mentioned it, I believe it was on June 9th. So they claim they had no knowledge of it, even though they were told about it. They keep saying they had no knowledge of an email being sent with that, like, regarding that. And we'll get to the bookmarklet in a second. But also, they spent all this money on a site rebuild, and they could have, I think, implemented a different voting system entirely. If after last year's results they didn't, you know, think something was up is beyond me. They could have, adjusted the rules then instead of waiting a year, and then when it happened again, they then are now saying, "Oh, because of this, it's like threatens the entire existence of the podcast awards." It's like, like that's just seems like a huge like guilt trip on the podcasters that actually won the awards. Be like, oh, because you guys won, we might not have awards again. It just seems really unprofessional, like childish almost. Um, but because I happen to know many of the people that won these awards personally, and I know, they're all very hardworking people. I've met them in person. I've played games with them online. And back to the book, like going to the bookmarklet, people said it was like vote automation or robo voting or anything like that, which it was absolutely not any of that at all. It basically just highlighted which awards or which categories the shows were nominated in and which ones to click on. The user would still have to go in, enter their email address, click the shows that they wanted to vote for, and actually submit the vote themselves. So it didn't automatically populate the poll or the form with stuff that was already selected and then send it automatically. It didn't do anything like that. So back to the point of it just being completely unprofessional. It was, like I said, they could have just said, we're putting this on hold until we conduct an investigation. They didn't have to mention anything about scandals or cheating or automated voting systems or anything like that. Like the less they said, probably the better. Just to, say, there's been an issue that's brought to our attention, we're investigating it, and have that be it. And now that the podcasters that have won are basically now believe you have to pay to even be nominated, and then you have to now pay for the awards as well. And the pricing on these awards is kind of ridiculous. It's like what, like $230, I think. I don't remember the exact numbers, but like 230 for a small statue and 400 for a large one, and each one had like a $30 shipping tag on top of that. Um, like I mentioned earlier, when they said that the Diamond Group should have funded the site rebuild, that's just stupid. When you're charging $400 for an award, you can afford to do your own site rebuild, especially if you're sending out multiple awards. There was one point where I was considering they buying an award because they would allow people to like basically order an award, and I was considering ordering one for myself from some of the work I've done on some of the shows that have won. And then after seeing these prices, it's like no thanks. I can buy a PS4 for that. I can buy a lot more like PC games, board games for that money instead of having an award that I don't even know the sizes is like that and maybe like that. I don't know the sizes, but the prices were just a little bit ridiculous. And this whole controversy, hopefully the awards don't necessarily go away, but hopefully they change the system, make it so it's locked to an IP address, make it so it's one vote per email address. This is stuff that with their site rebuild should have been implemented or could have been implemented um, last year or whenever the site was actually rebuilt. The They spent all the money on the rebuild, but then also didn't redesign like how the awards actually work. And if they didn't think something was going on after the 2015 awards, then they're more naive than I thought. But that's just my opinion on the podcast awards. Congratulations to all the winners because they do deserve to win these awards. I've listened to a lot of these podcasts. This year, I actually didn't even vote on the awards because I was just really busy with other stuff. Didn't even know when the awards were. But like I said, congratulations to the winners, and hopefully the podcast awards this is a wake up call to change the way these awards work, change the way voting works. This is a golden opportunity for you to rebuild it instead of saying, "Oh, look, we might not have awards anymore because of this." It's like, just evolve the awards, change how it works, and it should work out. I again want to thank you for watching. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Take care.